Good evening, everybody. First of all, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty territory and that the land on which we gather is a traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Before we get started our meeting, I would like to say a big thank you to our volunteers out there. This is National Volunteer Week. Without the volunteers that we have, this town wouldn't be half of what it is. I mean, thank you so much, and keep going, and we'll move this town forward one day at a time, and thanks a lot. So first of all, can I get approval of the agenda? I have one item to add, Treasurer's Report, the reserve fund transfers. And that'll go under Committee of the Whole Department Reports, number 17. Any other approval? Any others? Hearing none, any disclosures of interest? Hearing no disclosures of interest, we have no delegations. And question period. No questions. Okay, minutes of the previous meeting. Resolution 131-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held April 4th, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 132-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that Resolution 232-22 be rescinded in its entirety. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 133-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau, that Council transfer from the Recreation Building Reserve $28,666.53 to cover the township portion of the ICIP fitness room upgrades as budgeted in bylaw 30-2021.
Where are we?
Reserve
Reserve fund? Okay. Sorry. No, that's okay. I mean, that's my fault.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. That was what, 133? 134.
Correct.
Resolution 134-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that Council transfer to the NWMO Community Wellbeing Reserve Fund $4,193.24 in regards to the Phase 1 Cascale A6 Trail Upgrade Project. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 135-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council transfer to the infrastructure reserve $3,633.16 in regards to the reconciliation of Phase 1 Cascale A6 Trail Upgrade Project as per bylaw 30-2021. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 136-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council accept the request for proposal from Move Mobility in the amount of $154,727.81, excluding applicable taxes, for the purchase of a 2023 Ford Transit HR all-wheel drive van and a 4-year 80,000 kilometer extended warranty, with the purchase to be funded from the provincial dedicated gas tax reserve. That's my phone.
Is that what it is?
Sorry about that.
Nice ringtone.
Discussion? All those in favor?
I love it.
Carried.
Familiar?
I know, really.
Resolution 137-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for the reservoir ROV inspection in the amount of $6,156.48, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 138-23, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for jar test apparatus in the amount of $5,000, $471.34, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Need a pen. Thank you. Resolution 139-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for Schreiber water treatment lab equipment in the amount of $5,000, $234.87, including applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 140-23. Moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bryson, that council accept the revised 2022 Section 11 annual report for the Schreiber drinking water system as prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency on behalf of the Township of Schreiber. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, accounts for payment. Resolution 141-23. Moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bourgeau, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of March 2023 in the amount of $727,000, $58.90 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. Discussion?
I'd just like to make note that it sounds like a large amount, but when you consider the new loaders on there for $320,000 and the other half of our boilers on there for $153, that's why that number's so big this time.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion? No, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 142-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bourgeau, that bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of March 2023 in the amount of $54,544.10 for payroll be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. What's the next one? Sorry.
Should be 140
Okay.
next.
Resolution 140. This is under other business. Resolution 143-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bryson, that bylaw 11-23 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the Township of Schreiber and Maine Rehabilitation Incorporated be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 144-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bourgeau, that bylaw 12-2023 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the Township of Schreiber and JML Engineering Limited be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 145-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, second by Councillor Morrow, that bylaw 13-2023 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal weed inspector be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion?
So this comes from correspondence from the chief weed inspector. That's the
Wow, you can't make this stuff up.
No. Anyway, it's a requirement by a provincial regulation, so there are such things as noxious weeds, and it's a requirement by the province to inspect them and destroy them. So we will now be appointing a chief weed inspector and letting the ministry know.
Okay, thanks for that. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 146-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeois, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that council approve the contribution of $2,500 for the year 2023 to assist in the funding of a physician recruiter position for the communities of Schreiber and Terrace Bay. Discussion?
I don't know if you guys had a chance to read the notes that were provided, but in 2021 and 2020, they couldn't do much because of the Zoom, but already she's had an opportunity to attend a one-on-one person recruitment event in September in Kitchener by McMaster. So nice to help that we can get our locums and doctors and stuff, keep them up. So that was I think that's a good thing for these little towns.
Oh, for sure. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 147-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Bourgeois, that council declare the property identified as roll number 5851-000-002-15400 as a surplus asset to be disposed of. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So now we'll move into the committee of the whole part of the meeting with our department reports and committee board minutes. Number one, the Memorial Bench Program information.
So the Memorial Bench Program, I've developed it here as a draft, and it's being brought forward now for council for review before implementation. Essentially how it'll work is on the basis of a contract that needs to be signed, and the details and terms of the contract are all provided here. Just a simple registration and contract, which has the opportunity to be renewed on a 10-year basis. The period I went with here is 10 years. Should you choose to renew it, continue for another 10 years and so forth, as on consent between the township and the purchaser. Any questions regarding the implementation, logistics of it, or?
So they can do either a bench, a picnic table, or a chair.
Yes.
So they have a choice about what they wanna fund
Yep.
for 10 years.
Yep.
And you were telling me that we're gonna be unveiling this after it's approved and doing some marketing for this?
Absolutely. Yep.
Do we, sorry,
Go ahead.
do we have like, we only have this many chairs, we only have this many benches? Or is it a free-for-all?
It's
Cause then,
like.
what if you get too much?
Exactly.
Would it?
Yes.
Or is it just cluttered
I
with
could
stuff
sit anywhere.
then?
No, I think,
5 feet.
Yeah.
no, that's a good question, but I mean, what'll go out there first, I believe, will be, what's at the park. What's
Uh-huh.
at the park, and then there's.
So how many spots are at the park?
1, 3, 4, 6, 8 or 9.
Benches?
Well, there's 3, 4, and then there's the 2 flat benches.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think we'd have enough to start with this year, and then there will be requests, and then we'll just have to,
Okay.
we'll have
Yeah.
to take them.
I just remember when Terrace did theirs, they had like, this is how many we can do, so it's like a first come, first
First serve.
Yeah.
type of thing, cause we got one as a school, and we had to make that decision like immediately to know that.
And that's part of it, right? It would to some degree work on a first come, first served, because there has to be an available bench that works with it. That being said, I can certainly work with individuals if there isn't a bench to, purchase a bench. Have no issue,
We have
doing
some,
that.
we've had a request and all that already for, a bench where there is no bench, but I mean, that's not a big deal, and I think the plan is to stick with the silhouette benches. And even if it wasn't a silhouette bench, and they're the 2 legs that get bolted down to the cement pad. Even if it wasn't, I'm a big believer in the cement pad, because you put a bench down, like take the one that's sitting over at Collingwood Court on the grass, it's like this. And in the summertime, I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but grass grows up through it and everything else, like, so if you put it down properly on a pad, your
On a
grass
platform?
ain't growing up around the bench, you got lots of clearance to cut the grass and everything, and it just looks a whole lot better.
Okay.
In terms of cost, it may look like these are expensive, but it really only covers the cost of purchasing the furniture itself. The plaque is another around like $400 plus for the concrete pad. Just on its own, if we had to bring someone to mobilize that and all, right, it would be another $500 or so. So, altogether, it would be very expensive. For making someone pay for the whole thing could be quite substantially expensive. I'm always shocked at the shipping costs for some of these benches. Obviously, you get a deal if you order a lot of them together, but this will help basically generate some revenue that you can potentially put aside to even get new benches, right? So it's something better than nothing.
Do you know that about 15 years ago, our family did a fundraiser to raise money to put a bench down at the waterfront at Lake Superior, at Schreiber Beach, and it was $1,500 then.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Right.
think I don't think 22 is too expensive for a table, honest to God.
No,
That was
I
15
mean-
years ago.
Yeah.
Since we're here, there people will probably be wondering, like a bench with a plaque on the cement pad is $1,600 for 10 years.
Yeah.
A picnic table with a plaque on a cement pad on a base is $2,200. A chair with a plaque is $1,000. And
And it's
they're
10
not out of
years.
whack.
And
They're
it's
not
10
out of
years,
whack.
yeah.
They're a little more expensive than our neighbors, but they had a place to put theirs on. We do right a few, but most of them we're gonna have to pour cement pads, so.
So we need to have a plan. is kind of what I'm trying to.
Yeah, you're right.
Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, more people want benches. Pour a pad, quick, put the bench up, because we don't want.
Well, there'll only be, like, this year, there'll only be what we have down at down at the splash pad, I believe, and Tammy's gonna take inventory of the old benches that we got and everything. And we'll take requests for other ones, and if we can get the pads poured and there's money there for the bench, then we'll get them ordered.
And maybe between now and the unveiling, right, we've got time to take all this inventory and be able to give people,
As soon as the snow is gone.
right? We give them an idea of how many we've got available. You're not wrong, Dave.
No, we're not
You're
counting.
right. What if you sell 20 benches?
Well, I know how
Yeah.
successful this was in Terrace Bay,
Yeah.
and I feel like it will be just as successful here, and I don't want us to be in over our head, like, we gotta get all this, and now where do we put it, type
Yeah.
of thing, right?
I think in that situation, we would then have to iron out those, the logistics of the supply and
Yeah.
demand, and, I mean, I don't wanna say a waiting list or something, but that may have to be realistic in
Yeah.
such a scenario. Because you're right, we wanna organize and put them in logical spots, not just anywhere.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
And like I say, we got
yeah.
got a request down at the beach, I got a request on the road down to the beach. Just different places already, and not saying you can't do it, it's
Mhm.
just,
Yeah.
you gotta figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay. Number 2, treasury report, reserve, revert. You speaking to it, or?
Yeah, I'll read the resolutions, my recommendations. Recommendation that resolution 243-22 be rescinded in its entirety, and that basically this is looking towards the community safety well-being plan costs, getting that covered through Ontario Cannabis Legalization Fund. Is there anything you want to add to that, Marlene?
No, just that we're rescinding the 243-22, because that had originally said we were funding the project through the infrastructure reserve. And what the recommendation is to bring into operating the provincial funding,
Yep.
as you indicated there.
So that's just, Maureen, that's just moving money from the deferred revenue
That's right.
into this?
Correct, yeah.
Because we've actually received what? Have we received all $20,000
Yeah.
of that OCI? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
the next recommendation here is that council transfer to the library donations and fundraising reserve $500, which represents a donation received in 2022 for a project not completed in 2022.
Are you okay with that? Bring it forward. Okay, number 3 then. Property tax allowance for doubtful accounts.
Recommendation here that council transfer from the property tax allowance for doubtful accounts $524,878.97 into operating for the year ending December 31st, 2021.
Can we get an explanation on that? That money is actually being moved, or how does that all work?
So
You say you're moving it into operating.
Yeah, so
So
over
the-
the years, through the budgeting process, council has allowed for an expense to transfer to the allowance. And what the property tax allowance for doubtful accounts does, it's a liability account. And what it does is, allows for those accounts that you think are doubtful or uncollectible throughout the year. So, you may recall that there was some very aggressive, transfers to the reserve when the receivables at the end of the year were quite significant. So all of the work that was done, I think right up until, I believe I said it was 2017 was the last time that we did a transfer
Yeah.
to reserve. What this means is that in 2021, we had write-offs that were allowed for already. So we have to bring that money from that liability. Basically, you raised the allowance for the write-off in previous years so that you could write it off, bring that money in the year that you're actually doing the write-off. So it is a reducing the 2021 cost of the write-off, basically. So for the financial impact, part of the issue is that the year-ending total arrears balance at the end of December of 2021 was just over, just under $422,940, and the amount that was in the allowance was just over $800,000. So you had more than enough, and you may recall that we had a significant write-off that occurred in 2021 when. So you can't have more in your allowance than what's actually owing. You have to bring that into operating so that the tax base can receive that benefit.
Okay. You good with that, Dan?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Marlene.
We good with it? Okay. Director of Operations report. Status report.
Do you wanna just give us a quick overview, Tam? 52-minute.
We had an adverse quality water incident, and it was just for repairing the feed line for the chlorine analyzer. So, it just means that it's continuous monitoring, so there's 52 minutes of data not captured, so it becomes a reportable incident.
Yes.
No other action required. Plow Darling was supposed to be here to continue work on the controls, but then, as you know, the weather turned a little on the chilly side, so again, we're waiting for warmer temperatures because they have to shut the rooftop units off. And when they were here doing their regular maintenance, they discovered some issues down at the Public Works building, so I'm getting quotes on getting those repairs done.
And you haven't got those quotes yet, I bet, hey?
I did just get it, not in
Okay.
time for
No,
this.
that's fine, okay.
They're not crazy.
And that's probably gonna end up being 2023 maintenance, a maintenance cost anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay. Number 5, aqua expenses.
Recommendation here that council accept the expenditure request from Aqua for a portable UV 254 analyzer in the amount of $3,218.16, including taxes.
And that's the very last.
Right,
That
Tam?
is the last item.
That's the last item
Yeah.
for this filter study?
And we knew that this one was coming.
Yes, you told us the last
yeah.
meeting, yeah, you're right.
Brings the grand total to 41,000 for the filter study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that equipment that can be repurposed after the study is completed?
This equipment will always be needed in this plant.
Okay,
They will continue taking, any plant that has pressure filters such as ours, should have this equipment as part of their regular equipment anyways, cause it's constant monitoring that should be done on a regular basis.
thanks, Tammy.
Okay. And our conversation today, the filters should be ready for the turnover?
Yes, we had a conversation with Aqua, and we should be in a good position for the turnover to happen. So we should have favorable data collected out of the study as a result.
Okay. Down, any other questions?
No, that's good.
Downtown revitalization, number 6.
The recommendation here that council accept the quote from Barco Products Canada in the amount of $5,213.10 for 6 waste receptacles plus applicable taxes. Furthermore, we'd be looking at working on refurbishing the washrooms there. The current estimate that Tammy has is looks like it will potentially be somewhere $40,000. You have a contingency of approximately $70,000 left.
And Nathan, you looked into that, the usage of this funds?
Yes, we are definitely getting confirmation from funders to make sure that everything's all kosher. We want to ensure that we're not on the hook for covering that. We want to take advantage of the 90-10 funding ratio.
And that's the one from NOHFC.
NOHFC and FedNor
Yeah.
cover this.
To be quite honest with you, these bathrooms are located,
That's in that
That's
little
the-
house right beside the splash pad.
do you know, it wasn't until I read this that I knew there was a washroom in there.
Oh,
I didn't realize it was that bad.
When you showed the pictures, that's abysmal.
This is a great idea.
Yeah, this is seriously an excellent idea, that looks
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, that's a.
I think that bathroom
Yeah.
refurbish is
When you
really a good idea. And if it falls within the funding, better yet.
Exactly.
I never knew there was a washroom. I'm thinking, I think she's talking down at the beach. I don't think there's, but yeah, thank God.
We're working on the logistics. I know Tammy's getting everything coordinated to try to get this done as soon as possible so that we don't have any service disruption. This is the year that the water comes on, so.
Yes, yeah.
It will be coming on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you gotta work on the washrooms or later or during
Or
or.
whatever,
work
yeah,
one
that's a really
washroom,
good-
We
really
have
good
one washroom
idea.
at a time. We
One
look at
I like this
washroom.
idea.
It will be open. Okay, that cover all of it? Recreation programmer report, Heritage Days Entertainment. I guess that's our handout.
Just to note, there was some pricing that did come in today that ultimately the recreation programmer decided that it was what you say significant to change the recommendation in this report. But I'll start with the first one here. Recommendation that council accept a quote from the Funny Hypnotist to perform 2 shows during the Schreiber Heritage Days in the amount of $3,800 plus applicable taxes. Requested confirmation to find out that it was Canadian dollars. It is Canadian dollars. Just because the
don't
company
know,
keeps
that's
on
right.
saying.
Sorry, he's world famous. isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
Second recommendation there, that council accept a quote from EDLA for 3 59-minute sets of live music and DJ services between each set in the amount of $1,600 plus applicable taxes, plus accommodation and meals. And the third recommendation, that council of the Township of Schreiber accept a quote for Fantastic Castles to travel, set up, supply, power, and run bouncy castles, water slides, skates, and dunk tanks for 6 hours in the amount of $4,480 plus applicable taxes. On
Just one quick question, where would these be, where would these see these? In the ball field?
She's looking at, I believe she was looking at around the arena.
Around the
Is that
arena
correct,
floor
Tammy?
last year.
Yes.
That's because of weather though.
Yeah,
right?
we-
Again? So a little FYI, right? You either
Yeah.
need really long extension cords or generators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, in terms of financial impact, funds, we're looking at potentially covering it through your Heritage Days reserve. Of course, I know Dan, you had a question on this, and why we're looking at doing these purchases now is because we need to book them to make sure we get them for our Heritage Days. If we don't book them, it's not gonna be guaranteed that we can get them on those weekends. And the recreation program is working on finalizing the event plan and looking at potential for revenues, which will help bring money back into your reserve. We're also looking at potential funding to help supplement revenues for Heritage Days as well. Usually try to get provincial funding.
And I think last year and the previous, and the one before that, Heritage Days donations, we were able to secure funding. There were some generous supporters out there, so I'm sure they'll be around again this year.
And again, Nathan, you were telling me that she was emailing the committee and asking questions, and then she had sent some surveys out on Facebook and got some input to get this planned.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your thoughts?
It looks like a good schedule. It's gonna be nice and busy, which I think is good. It seemed even with Winter Carnival, there was a lot going on in a little bit of time. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's good too.
Yeah, I attended all of it. Most of, like, there was no hypnotist that I believe last year, but the other stuff I attended, and it was well attended, and it was all good. So.
You gotta go up for the hypnotist though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Gotta go in the dunk tank.
And the dunk tank.
And the dunk tank, yeah, there you go.
Okay, we'll tell her to keep going. Number 8, recreation programmer report. Grant and aid.
So the request for the grant and aid is to cover the cost for the invoice for the hall rental in the amount of $1,200.96 for the Lake Superior High School dance.
This is their grad, right?
Yep.
So that's the graduation and dance. Okay.
Yeah, what are we gonna be budgeting in that grant and aid?
Well, in 2022, you budgeted $3,000. And at the end of the year, you had spent $2,111.
Well, how much had we spent?
$2,111. There was some money left over. My question is, not specific to this, but are we going to put together a new grant and aid program? I know there has been some questions and concerns about how this is kind of policed and how this is done. And I know this is our first one, but do you think moving forward, we're gonna have time to do that?
We're supposed to.
We're looking at revamping a lot of our recreation policies, so we're bringing that forward and trying to clear part of that. Part of the recreation fees needs to be updated, part of the alcohol policy, rentals, and it does, what you say, touch on this as well. while the grant and aid is something to look at. That being said, right, part of it would be to see, if we are gonna make any changes to it, would be to see what exactly would be the, you know, where you would want to put them at $3,000 would be, you know, a key thing. We could bring back suggestions, right, but, I think everyone does like the grant and aid.
But we can't keep giving out the hall for nothing. To all the, like, I'm not saying this specific group, but I mean just in general. We just can't keep giving out the hall for nothing, cause then we're scratching our heads why we gotta, you know.
I don't think you're.
But in the past 2 years, I would say LSHS is the only ones who have used the hall for nothing for a grant and aid. I think I'm right, actually. I would say no one else.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah, but there's been certain times where they get for an event on a Saturday, noon till 2, say, or noon till 3, and the next thing you know, they want in there the night before, and oh yeah, we're gonna sell pops, so we need the coolers turned on, and you know what, and where are we? So that's why we gotta develop something better.
The high school actually did this request right.
Oh, definitely.
Because they actually said, okay, listen, we know the dance is Friday night, but we need the hall all day to set up and then have the dance. And we needed a half day to
Mhm.
clean up. So the way they actually wrote this was like incorporated exactly what you just said, right?
Yeah,
There
but
should be
part of
no
the-
surprises.
Part of the conversation was, yeah, maybe they get the hall for free, but they gotta pay for the setup and the cleanup. But, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That being said, right, the grant and aid is a budgeted amount again for what council is willing to, costs that council's willing to essentially forgive. Doesn't necessarily mean you guys always have to forgive 100%.
Right.
You could do grant and aid for 50%, you could do 75%, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some grant and aids are just donations, right?
Yep.
And some grant and aids are hall rentals or other equipment rentals.
Usually the hall.
Usually the hall?
I've only ever seen it be the hall or a donation.
But the other part of this also is staff, the cost of staff,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
Which can be, I mean, looking at this report, it's significant. So,
And there.
I mean, that, and to Nathan's point, that could be something that needs to be contributed to going forward.
And they've always given us, this group's usually pretty good, they've always given us a list of chaperones and the whole bit, like make sure.
So we know
they're-
that we're covered?
Yeah, to make sure that everything's covered.
I'm okay with it.
But I'm good with it too. I think it's important, but I think,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It needs to be well-defined in what you're gonna receive, and then we stick to that.
I honestly think we need a grant and aid and then a policy for our 2 local schools and the high school. Cause I think they're 2 separate things, personally. I think the schools and the high school and Terrace, if they wanna use our hall, they should get it. If they wanna use the arena to skate for an hour, they should get it. but I don't think that's a grant and aid. I think that should just be a school policy for the kids. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk.
Considering our grant and aid applications are typically the schools, the
Yeah.
high school, and the North Shore Harvest Food Cupboard. That's all we've got.
Yeah,
I think it certainly deserves further discussion.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Dave wants to discuss it tonight.
No, not tonight, but give the kids the hall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead with that then. And the square system, finance special projects administrator report on the square system.
A recommendation that council surplus and sell the square system with chip reader and Apple iPad 8th generation through local advertisement to get the best offer.
this would be good for a small business, would it not?
Yeah, potentially, does the job of transaction.
Right?
Yeah. Could potentially get a good deal. I mean, part of it, I know we're looking, you'd asked, what would sort of be the minimum price, and it's difficult to do that because of the way technology gets obsolete.
Right. When you open the box, right, it's obsolete, yeah. But I mean, it would be nice to see this advertised well, because I was looking at some of the specs, and I think, I don't know if you sold, I don't wanna say sewing out of your house. I mean, I think something like this, that would,
Yeah.
it would do you.
Yeah.
That would, and these little systems do a lot. And we have one, we have a newer one that's replacing this, we're not gonna be without one.
It's the one we have at
Yeah.
the museum, which is sort of what happened is they, after we got that, then that newer two-way model came out, and it was great because it had a nice display that shows whatever you're purchasing to the customer, and we're like, okay, we want that one.
Yeah.
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 It's been a great program to work with. I know our everyone that's utilized it has had no issues with it. It's very simple, straightforward.
So if you're watching and have a small business, put your bid in.
Okay, then, senior programmer coordinators report.
Okay, that report's a bit dated, so we did have a meeting yesterday. I could just talk about some of the things that are going on.
Okay.
So what's coming up on April 22nd is a bus excursion to Thunder Bay where it's going to leave the municipal complex at 8:30. Go to Thunder Bay, go to the mall, and drop people off there. They can do some shopping and then pick them up and go to Magnus Cedar, catch a play, and then return to Schreiber about 7:30 at night. So that's an opportunity. There's still room. I think there was 41 booked up as of yesterday, and there's room for 55. So anybody
That's good.
that's interested, it's an opportunity to get out there and have a road trip. On Monday, April 24th, there is an estate planning and funeral arrangement seminar at the rec hall at 7 o'clock at night. And that's a good opportunity for anybody that's looking to speak to a lawyer, and she's going to put on a presentation. That's Rosa Carlino.
And you
She's
have to
coming
be a
down.
member to attend that, right, Dan?
You
Yeah.
need, yeah, it's for the seniors.
So it's
But,
a good reason to get a membership.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and speaking of memberships, as of yesterday, we were up to 340, and 50 of those new members 50 of those were new members, and there's still 80 people who have not renewed. So there will be a membership drive going forward. And also, the last thing I want to mention is there's a blood pressure and blood sugar clinic. And these clinics, there's been at least one, there's maybe two, but it's well attended. So the next one is April 19th, which is tomorrow. And that is from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So, and if anybody wants more information on what's going on at the Senior Center, then just visit the Senior Center Facebook page, and everything that's happening, all the opportunities are there. And that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Bylaw report.
We got the report format changed up a bit, so.
Can I just tell you how nice this is?
It is good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very good.
it's like, this is what I think you're after. I mean, there's just, we look on here, we know exactly what we're looking at. These are the tickets that she's been, these are things that are closed, these are things, I mean, my gosh,
Yeah, no, that's.
right?
definitely-
Yeah, I agree. That's a great report.
It is a really great report. A lot of dogs, hey?
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm
It's a nice
happy with
report.
the report. Community Economic Development Committee.
So we
Did
had
you-
a Community Economic Development meeting on March 27th, and the thing that we did was we worked on the upcoming business networking event, which is planned for May the 25th at 7 p.m. here. We're gonna do RSVP. She's already working at getting a hold of people, so that we got an idea of how many are coming. There's there'll be refreshments available, and we have, one of our business people has very graciously donated to that, so that won't cost the committee anything. And one of our newest members, Ken Cook, has agreed to run that event and basically be the big host. But we're really hoping for a good presentation, and she's also been in contact with the newly updated and running really well Aquasabin Chamber of Commerce, and they're gonna come and make a presentation at that meeting. But for a chance really for businesses just to network.
That sounds really great, even
Yeah.
with the chamber being able to come in on
Yeah.
that. That's really good.
She's got all her duties split up, who does what, and she's put together a poster to give you an idea what she's thinking. And we thought that this second networking event would be something that we would task Kim and the committee to putting on, though we do want representation from mayor and council, but to have it be more of them having that whole economic development discussion
Yeah.
amongst themselves, right?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
but we can go,
Oh, definitely, but
Yeah.
it's I think, our hope is that people could come and definitely say what they think and ask questions, but that it really is centered around working together and looking at economic development for Schreiber,
Yeah.
and less as an opportunity maybe to commiserate with other things, right? So that's we're trying to keep a real positive bend to it.
Yeah,
So we're hoping for a good turnout.
Yeah, and we did this before COVID, last term, and the one event we had turned out really well. We had really good participation and lots of shared ideas. So I hope to see another good turnout, and I believe it's beneficial to all the small businesses in our community. So looking forward to it.
no, I'll probably end up going to it.
Yeah, and including home-based businesses as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a request in there for funding to it. Under duties. Request financial support from the Township of Schreiber.
That is in the amount of $150 to buy coffee, tea, water, provide napkins, spoons, cups, sugar, and sweetener. The rest of the food is coming in from a local business.
So you guys are requesting $150 then?
Just to buy cups and napkins and stuff.
Should be able to take that out of the council.
Oh, yeah, that'll be from your council, yeah. What was the GL, Marlene? There's
Beer and
substantial
promotion.
money.
Beer and promotion.
Beer and promotion.
Okay.
There's quite a, there's quite a bit of room in that.
Okay. Not a problem, I don't think. Good with it, everybody?
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, number 13, fire chief report. And the fire chief is here.
$13 calls, Jan, for January, February. Is that about normal?
That is normal, that's usually the quiet period. That'll stand in stark contrast to the last 2 months, March and April.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that structure fire was the count of clothes piled on a baseboard heater. Yeah, I always wondered how much it would take. I have baseboard heaters in my house. I always wondered what it would take to catch something on fire, but I guess that's a common thing, Jan, and people
It
need to
is.
be aware that.
Yeah, it's like any space heater. You have to keep stuff away from it. You know, and depending on what the material is, it will not take long for it to ignite against a hot heater. So.
Yeah, sounded like it smoldered a while before.
Possibly
Cause
before
ex-
they found it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was a good catch.
Okay, then. Is number 14, the response to unincorporated Ontario update.
This,
Do you want to just give us the highlights, Jan, so that people watching will know?
Sure, this is just information only. This is just to inform council that their reimbursement program for fire departments responding to Crown land areas and unincorporated areas, the scope of it has been increased as of March of this year, and that they now cover the events that are listed there, the gas alarms, the carbon monoxide alarms. Calls that happen in provincial parks will all now be reimbursed at what they call the MTO rate, which increases annually, but right now stands about $583 an hour.
Nice.
Okay. So that's your forest fire management, the agreement, right?
That would be the next one on the
Okay.
agenda, yeah.
There's of course the recommendation there that council authorize the signing of this 2023 agreement with the MNRF.
And the cost has gone down slightly?
It has compared with last year's cost.
Okay.
We accomplished that. They put in an annual consumer price index increase. Plus this year it was also up for its renewal period. It would have brought our costs up 4% over last year. But by renegotiating some of the boundaries in the agreement, we were able to bring it down slightly instead.
You're happy with this new agreement, Jen?
We are, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're good with it. Ontario Clean Water Agency. Summary report.
This one is for wastewater.
I took your water training, Tammy, so I understand the water reports. This is like reading French. Well, it is.
This is the annual summary.
Okay, so the highlights of it are, the highlights. You have that BOD thing, which you talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah. So this just summarizes everything that's happened over the past year for 2022. And so any AWIs that we had are listed in there. But I mean, all in all, it's a pretty good picture of the year. And we were compliant with, short of just having those few incidents that were reportable, nothing major.
Right. Average flows up a little bit, like you say, but nothing to get too excited about.
That would have reflected during that spring thaw last year that
Right.
everywhere was flooding.
When you're reading through this ALS environmental analytical report, that's
Oh, yeah.
like, for the love of God. What? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking this, I have to look at these words up. I'm like,
Now, Tammy, the last inspection was, it shows January 2015.
That's right. That was the last inspection for the wastewater plant. So I asked for a copy of that, and they were very quick at providing me a copy of that. So I was able to read over what they found in 2015. So it was a good document to discover.
When do you think they'll be back?
It says every 5 years, but they have a shortage of inspectors for wastewater, so yeah, it could be any time.
Okay.
We just hope and pray for longer.
Okay, no more questions? Okay, move into communications then. No? Oh, yeah. Treasury report. $17, down at the bottom. Recommendations.
Guess I'll read them now, then you get to read them next time. So recommendations that council transfer from the infrastructure reserve $77,046.54 to cover the cost of the greater transmission project as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022. Keep going.
that's before me, but I could find the bylaw, yes.
That council transfer from the infrastructure reserve $36,676.29 to cover the cost of the hopper replacement on that 2007 International plow / sander truck as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022. That council transfer from the water and sewer reserve $17,023.40 to cover the cost of the Ontario Street water main reline design and tender with project as budgeted in bylaw 34/22.
Okay, second. Sorry, Marlene, because we got this a little bit later. I have a question about that. When we talked about the Schreiber on, the Ontario Street reline mark, and we had this budget broken down for us, and there was the construction, the contingency, and then the contracted min of $18,750. It looked to me like that was being funded as part of this whole project. So here's my question. Is this 17,000 something else besides what's in this package that we just looked at the last meeting?
Yes.
So that's something different. So what's that one, Mark?
So if, I'm just gonna interrupt a little bit for Nathan while he's reading the recommendations. The schedule that is with the recommendations is taking a look at the 2022 budgeted capital fund projects. So the very short answer to your question was the original 17,000 has to do with the contract administration for the design and tendering of the project. And that was,
Done long before this was done?
yes.
Okay,
It's-
good.
Yes, exactly,
Okay.
because this stuff that's on, that you just passed on the agenda just recently has to
Yes.
do with the actual construction awarding and the contract admin for the construction of the project.
But this
As
is-
opposed to the design of the tender package.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But all of the recommendations that are in that report have to do with the schedule, that is attached as attachment number 1, which takes each of the projects that were in the capital fund, tells you how much, was budgeted, what the actual expense was, and it also tells you how each project was funded, whether it was funded through provincial grants, federal grants, transfers, excuse me. So each of them go hand in hand, and what I would say is that the majority of them are all under budget. The majority of them were budgeted through transfers as well. I will make one note on the, oops, lost my page there. I will make one note on the copy that you guys have. It doesn't have a material effect, but I did have the item where it was the GPS cameras, all vehicles. I had that sitting in the revenue fund when in actual fact it really was, it should be as a transfer from reserve, which was budgeted. The bottom line is the, in the 2022 budget, we had budgeted that the taxation drawdown was going to be just over 253,000. This spreadsheet is telling you that after all the projects have been done, you're just under what you budgeted at 257.99.
Okay.
Right. The other two additions that are part of the transfer report have to do with your provincial gas tax that you received in 22 and
Right.
your federal gas tax that you received in 22 that you did not spend in 2022.
Right.
So that's a transfer into the reserve funds for both of those two things.
Sorry, Nathan, but
Okay.
other question?
I'll continue so those who are following at home.
Yeah.
So that was again the transfer from the water and sewer reserve at $17,023.40 to cover the cost of the Ontario Street water main reline design and tendering project. That council approved the use of OCF funding in the amount of $181,790.52 to cover the cost of the Phase 1 ESA building upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant, as budgeted in bylaw 3422. That council transfer from the water and sewer reserve $18,640.64 to cover the cost of the blower air distribution failure at the wastewater treatment plant, as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022. The council transfer from the infrastructure reserve $33,249.43 to cover the cost of the design, engineering, and project management for the wastewater dechlorination project.
And now that was phase 1 only. We're not moving forward with phase 2, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We're still
We're waiting.
hoping for
We're stalling to,
funding.
okay. So that was just to finish, that was to complete phase 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
That council transfer from the infrastructure reserve $20,286.11 to cover the cost of the GPS systems and building security camera projects. The council transfer
These are the good ones.
From the Water and Sewer Reserve, $5,000 representing the cost for the water reservoir inspection as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022, but not spent in 2022. Council transfer to the Water and Sewer Reserve, $19,291.81, representing the unspent portion of the water treatment plant turbidity analyzer 5 project as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022. That council transfer to the Water and Sewer Reserve, $11,025.33, representing the unspent portion of the dam phase 1 project as budgeted in bylaw 34/2022. And that council transfer to the provincial dedicated gas tax reserve fund, $17,286, which represents the funding received in 2022. And that council transfer to the federal gas tax reserve fund, $67,172.70, that represents the revenue received in 2022. Okay.
And these were all the capital funding projects for 2022.
Yes.
Thank you, Marlene. Okay.
Okay. We're good with that? Okay, now we can move onto communications.
I can
I
speak
had a-
to,
Yeah, are you gonna talk about Parks Canada, Dan?
I can speak to that. So this is a letter from Parks Canada to the committee, the interim liaison committee, which we are part of as a municipality, and I'm the representative. So and it's basically asking for feedback on Parks Canada's regulatory proposal for the marine conservation reserves. And for now, these regulations will only be applicable to established marine conservation reserves. And Lake Superior is not one of them at this point, but it's in the final stages.
Right.
So what they're looking for here is feedback from the committee, and they're also looking for feedback from the public. So the website that they've provided is www.letstalknmcas.ca. So you can go on there and look around, and there is an opportunity to provide feedback. They do outline what regulations they're going to bring forward, so it's just an opportunity for everyone to have a look at what's going on within the Marine Conservation Reserve. And there will be a meeting of the committee in May, so there'll be more information to share after that.
And Minister Clark sent you a letter, Nathan?
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
Oh. Nathan.
Have any questions with that, or good? I mean, it's actually, usually we don't get
Response.
any sort of responses, so something. But I think they probably got a lot of delegations for housing, so. And it was their opportunity to pitch their changes, so.
The NOMA call for provincial government to address homelessness. I mean, I think that's probably just a document we're gonna take and put in our community wellness moving forward, right? That's NOMA, the Thunder Bay District, DSAB has done the same thing.
Now, so looking at the draft for NOMA, I think it's going to be very interesting. Lots of
Yeah,
good speakers there, and ministers will be attending, and lots of opportunity if anybody has any questions,
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be good, you're right.
then we should, get them ready.
And then Superior Classics Car Club.
Where's the request for sponsorship?
What do we usually do?
So do we pick a package?
We've done this one before.
No, this
No,
is new, the way that, this seems new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've done this one.
Yeah. So I think you'd pick a package.
Have we donated anything in the, like not?
We did bleachers the one year.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
I like the idea, I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I like the idea of this trackside banner placement. Make
I was
a-
just looking at that too.
You know, like making a banner about, like, since you're only 10 minutes away, why not stop into Schreiber and see the new Discovery Center? I don't know. They'd probably go nuts if we did it, but I would think that, well, I don't know how what else you could use a banner for, but I kinda looked at that banner placement thinking that looks interesting.
This is you provide the banner.
Mm-hmm.
We have to decide this now.
Probably,
You think about it, right, and
put it on the next meeting.
you bring
Okay.
it back.
Now that we,
I think using the trackside that starts at silver package.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have followed, well, you guys must. Does anybody else go to these races? They donate quite a bit of money back to the communities.
I saw that, it was 14.
Oh, yeah, they fill
Yeah,
those.
they really do. It's good.
They fill both towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there last year, and it was, it is quite an event for our two communities, or three, or our area, not just the two communities, but catchment area.
Yeah.
It's really well run, and I know the volunteers put a lot of work into this every year and helps both communities and small businesses in a big way, so. And deserves support.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta pick one, gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
So we're doing the resolution support for number 11, the D-subs.
Yes, you can. There's no reason that the Township of Schreiber couldn't write its own request or support these, but if you read the DSAB letter, it is in support of NOMA's recommendation
Okay.
for homelessness that was earlier. But I mean,
Yeah.
we're part of both organizations, but I mean, we all have community well-being and wellness plans, and it probably wouldn't hurt to throw your hat in the ring with them. Or just even put a resolution to say, yes, we support that.
Yeah, that's,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what I'd do.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Just wonder the NOMA one then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think either one.
Yeah, I think that's it. Been here too long, Risers. Okay, hearing nobody else, we'll move on to unfinished business then. We're draft sewer and water service lateral repair policy.
So we got, old and new.
Old and new?
Really, the main change really is, once you go to the sewer and lateral repairs. So repairs and upkeep due to blockages. This one is saying that what we're saying is that the property owner shall bear all the cost of repairs and upkeep for the entire length of the sewer lateral on the side of the townships, on their side and the township side of the property line as it relates to being plugged or blocked, except under the following condition. The blockage is attributable to tree roots from a problem tree on the township property.
Why are we changing that?
This is it's the same thing, this is the exact same thing, it's really the water one we just changed. It just summarize the wording down just to make it a bit more concise. And what this is essentially saying is that blockages are typically caused based on the usage of the lateral. So basically what's going down in there will typically cause the blockage, in exception for tree roots. So that's why we're saying even on the township side, because the lateral continues, what do you say, from the property line, it continues past the private property owner's property line and onto the township side of that property line before it connects to our main. So we're saying if there's any blockages, like we're saying what you say, the cost for repairs. But the main thing is that we always want to be responsible for any work that's done on our property. We're just saying that the cost for repairs, who will have to pay for the cost of repairs, and that's what we're clarifying in the policy. And for 3.2, repairs and upkeep not attributable to blockages, right? This is again for any tree roots. This is pretty common. It's based on common law decisions based on nuisances. So for number 4, water service lateral repairs, 4.1, repairs and upkeep, the property owner shall bear all costs for repairs and upkeep, including thawing, to the water service lateral on their side of the property line. Okay?
It's just clearer than it was before.
Try to keep it as
Yeah,
minimal
no,
but
that's
clear as.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only other thing added there is obstruction, just to make sure that no one is just doing any work on
On water lines?
our water mains.
Well, no, that's right.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
It can work on their own, but the moment it reaches our property, right, we definitely need to know.
That looks good.
It does.
Okay?
Just for information, how many times did we have to go out and unthaw either water or sewer lines this winter? Any numbers on that?
I think there was one sewer line we had to thaw, potentially one water.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the olden days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
one sewer,
Yeah.
and I haven't even talked to them about the water, so, no,
Yeah.
I don't even
So-
know.
So it's not a real common thing that we have to go out and do that.
And you know, the main change we did here, right, was, you know, before there was sort of a debate when you first saw this, it was, you know, a curb stop, you know, in this case for the water lines, we said again, we're dividing it, honestly, it's based on where the property line is, so
Right.
that's what we were saying now.
Okay, if we're good with that, there's no other business, so we have to go back into camera, so that's the end of the open part. So resolution 148-23. Moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Bergeron, that the closed meeting resume at this time. All those in favor? Carried.